On the day of her daughter's engagement, she was dressed to the nines in an exquisite gown, looking forward with anticipation at her fiancé who was kneeling halfway in front of her. Yang Jia, with affectionate eyes, took out a dazzling diamond ring from the box. "Will you marry me?" Her daughter extended her hand with reserve. Amidst applause and blessings, Yang Jia carefully slipped the ring onto Qiao Xiaoyue's finger. In the awkward silence, Qiao Xiaoyue looked at her daughter triumphantly. Disregarding her daughter's shock and grief, she proudly flaunted the ring, as if fearing that the brilliance of the diamond ring might not reach her daughter's face. "Sorry, sister. Ajay has always liked me. He was afraid of hurting you, so he didn't dare to tell you. But marriage is a lifetime event. We've sacrificed a lot for you too. You should reflect on why Ajay likes me instead of you. We're truly in love. You'll bless us, right?" She had snatched her daughter's fiancé, and was shamelessly asking her daughter to bless them. Was this still the simple and sensible adopted daughter she had raised day and night? She was so angry that she felt like spitting blood, not to mention her daughter. However, her daughter, with her kind nature, swallowed her resentment forcibly and forced a smile to offer her blessing. She couldn't do the same. From then on, they would go their separate ways. She wouldn't bother them. Her daughter, looking extremely weary, tried to leave, but her friends blocked her way. "Zhaoqing, why are you so petty? Aren't you Qiao Xiaoyue's sister? You can't even spare a blessing for her engagement. Stop longing for Yang Jia to love you. They're a perfect match made in heaven. The one who isn't loved is the third party, isn't it?" Their shameless and morally corrupt words had clearly shown their stance, but she remembered that they were all her daughter's childhood friends, once good friends who shared everything. Now they astonishingly stood unanimously on the opposite side of her daughter, speaking high-sounding words. They not only wanted to whitewash the scoundrel and the scheming woman but also wanted to break her daughter's spirit and trample on her dignity. In a fit of rage, she smashed the engagement banquet and took her daughter home. However, she couldn't erase the trauma in her daughter's heart. It was at that time that she realized that her daughter's being marginalized hadn't happened without warning. From the day Qiao Xiaoyue entered their home, with that pitiful "how wonderful. I can dress up like a princess every day. Unlike me, who only has 2 tattered clothes." Her daughter gave her all her dresses. Later it was snacks and toys. But what she got in return wasn't gratitude but an insatiable appetite. Now Qiao Xiaoyue had taken away her daughter's friends and fiancé. Before she could take her daughter to see a psychiatrist, her daughter had severe depression. Clearly her daughter was the victim. Why did they tell her to die? The clothing store she had painstakingly opened with so much effort was gone. All gone. She had already given up Yang Jia. Why did they still have to ruin her store? On her daughter's phone screen was the store she had spent 10 years opening, being smashed and looted. The clothes she had personally designed and made were being cut to pieces and thrown onto the road. They held up big signs with her daughter's name in red. Zhaoqing interferes in other people's relationships, colludes with her biological mother to bully the adopted daughter. The quality of the store's clothes is extremely poor. The store manager Zhaoqing has a despicable character. A mistress doesn't deserve to open a store. Get out of City A. Then her daughter committed suicide by jumping off a building. She saw Qiao Xiaoyue's text message on her daughter's phone. "Do you want me to let you go? I still have the secrets of your mother's company. If you don't want your mother to lose everything, jump off the building." Just like that, with overwhelming hatred, she fainted. When she woke up again, in front of her was a familiar and young face, but one she hated to the core. Orphanage director Li Mei was holding Qiao Xiaoyue's hand, looking at her with pleading eyes. "This child is very sensible and obedient. Because she's thin and weak, no one has been willing to adopt her. Missu, you're so kind. Save her life." The scene was so familiar. It was when she adopted Qiao Xiaoyue. Qiao Xiaoyue, with her dirty little hand, tugged at her sleeve, looking at her timidly. "I really want to have a mother. Please, can I be your daughter? I'm always bullied by the older kids here. I get beaten and go hungry. I can't even have a full meal." She lifted her sleeve to show her the scars. Then she looked up. In the eyes of a child, which should have been the purest, she saw only darkness. She smiled and nodded. "Sure. Welcome to come home with me. Starting over." She wanted Qiao Xiaoyue to experience firsthand all the pain her daughter had endured. A gleam of triumph flashed in Qiao Xiaoyue's eyes as she went with her to go through the formalities. She wanted Qiao Xiaoyue to experience firsthand all the pain her daughter had endured. A gleam of triumph flashed in Qiao Xiaoyue's eyes as she went with her to go through the formalities. She hated herself for not noticing Qiao Xiaoyue's scheming before. She told the director, "Many of the documents are kept by my husband. After he passed away, I couldn't find them. We can't go through the adoption formalities now. I'll come back to do it after I've reissued all the documents. How about that?" Li Mei nodded happily. "I'm already very grateful that you're willing to adopt her. Documents aren't urgent. I trust your character." Just like that, she took Qiao Xiaoyue home. Her daughter friendly took her hand. You're the sister Mom adopted for me, right? Welcome home. Qiao Xiaoyue sighed and stared at the princess dress her daughter was wearing. How wonderful. You can dress up like a princess every day. Unlike me, who only has 2 tattered clothes. Seeing that her daughter's sympathy was about to flare up again, I walked over then. Your sister makes all her own dresses. If you like, you can make them yourself too. Did Qingqing ruin your tattered clothes? What are you doing feigning hardship in front of her? Her daughter also came to her senses and smiled sheepishly. Yes, Mom. Now that you've adopted her, you'll give her pocket money too. Our pocket money may not be as much as some of our friends, but it's enough to buy some things we like. Qiao Xiaoyue forced an awkward smile and then looked at me with eager eyes. Then my pocket money. I frowned. What pocket money? Providing for your food, clothing, shelter and transportation is already beyond my duty. What do you need money for? The director said you were sensible. Why are you asking for money as soon as you arrive? Did the orphanage teach you to beg? She was stunned and a glint of coldness flashed across her eyes. But the law stipulates that a child should be given living expenses every month, doesn't it? I sneered. We haven't even completed the adoption procedures yet. What makes you think I should give you living expenses? Besides, you're only 9 years old. You seem to know quite a lot. You even know what benefits you can get from being adopted. No wonder your parents don't love you and no one wants you. She lowered her head, her eyes red, and remained silent. Her daughter looked at me in surprise. Mom, why? I said earnestly. Qingqing, she's an orphan. Her past was really tragic, but we didn't cause her tragedy, understand? We brought her home and provided for her. That's a great kindness to her. She should be grateful to us. How can she have the nerve to ask for money? Whether it's for her or anyone else, don't be too sympathetic. Not everyone will appreciate it. Her daughter nodded, half understanding. Mom, I see. At the same time, Qiao Xiaoyue looked up. Her resentful eyes instantly became pitiful and wronged. I just had a really hard time before. I just want to have enough to eat. I didn't mean anything else. I'm sorry, Mom. I won't ask you for money anymore. I gave a mocking smile. But after all, I'm your adoptive mother. I just want you to get rid of your bad habits. I won't skimp on your food. Her eyes lit up, and she nodded vigorously like a chicken pecking at rice. Giving a carrot after a stick is the most common and effective way to train a dog. Coincidentally, it was late August when Qiao Xiaoyue was brought over. After Qiao Xiaoyue's comment of, I envy my sister for being able to study in a noble school, I still arranged for her to study in the same primary school as my daughter. A few days before the start of school, I picked up Zhang Qian, my niece who was in the 3rd grade in my sister's family. In the previous life, Zhang Qian and Qiao Xiaoyue didn't get along well. She often told me that Qiao Xiaoyue was a scheming girl, and that I was nurturing a potential threat. But when I asked my daughter about it, my naive daughter only knew how to defend her. She grew up in an orphanage and has psychological trauma. It's normal for her to be a bit pushy. We should care for and help her. Later, to soothe Qiao Xiaoyue's inexplicable trauma, I rarely let them interact with Zhang Qian. Now I realized that Zhang Qian was much more discerning than me. After all, my former brother-in-law was deceived by a scheming woman. My sister raised Zhang Qian alone. She was very different from other naive children. Sure enough, half an hour after Zhang Qian arrived at home, she looked at Qiao Xiaoyue impatiently. Why are you telling me how tragic your life was in the orphanage before? Qiao Xiaoyue was stunned and stammered. I was just sharing my experiences. Zhang Qian snorted. Who asked you to share? What's there to share? When you were sharing, you said you've never seen a mobile phone or a tablet and really wanted one. What's wrong with you? Are you so desperate? Auntie adopting you is already a great act of kindness. You're still not satisfied. What are you pretending for? I've seen many people like you. There are plenty of low-class women around my dad who pretend to be pitiful to get money. You're so young. Where did you learn this? You talk like a scheming girl. Qiao Xiaoyue burst into tears. I know I'm poor, but you can't insult me like this. After that, she didn't forget to look at me with a wronged look, as if waiting for me to stand up for her. I stood up and looked at my daughter, hands on hips. Your cousin is right. It's wrong to ask others for things. No matter how kind-hearted you are, you have to be discerning. People like her who feign hardship to ask for things are not as honest and noble as beggars who ask for money on their knees. Qiao Xiaoyue cried even harder, almost hoarse. Zhang Qian gave her a disdainful look and then pulled her daughter's hand and led her away. Let me tell you, think carefully about what she said. It may sound pitiful, but there's an ulterior motive. She clearly has bad intentions. You'd better be on guard. Her daughter wanted to say something but agreed in the end. She had always had a good relationship with her cousin. If it hadn't been for Qiao Xiaoyue's sake, perhaps I would have arranged for the 2 children to meet often. Maybe she wouldn't be so naive. Zhang Qian came to me. Auntie, I've been observing for a day that Qiao Xiaoyue is really not a nice person. Don't think I'm young. I'm very good at judging people. You'd better not adopt her. There will be endless trouble. I smiled and stroked her hair. I know. She was surprised. Then why do you still want to adopt her? I made up an excuse casually. She obviously didn't believe it but didn't ask further. Xiaoqian, you're so sensible. Can I ask you a favor? She agreed readily. Before, my dad abandoned my mom and me, and you've helped us a lot. Just tell me what you need. I said. Can you ask your mom to transfer your student status to your cousin's school and be her classmate? You saw today that she's too naive and easily deceived. I want you to take care of your sister usually. If someone is being insincere, don't be lenient. Expose them directly. Don't hold back when you need to speak up. She replied with a hey and patted her chest. What's so difficult about that? Leave it to me. She called her mother, and her mother agreed too. The day before the start of school, the procedures were all completed. Zhangqian's home was far away, so she would stay at my house during the school term. After the start of school, Zhangqian often reported the situation at school to me. Her daughter still studied every day, and occasionally played rubber band skipping with her classmates after class. Qiao Xiaoyue, on the other hand, kept feigning hardship to win the sympathy of her classmates, and didn't forget to compare herself with her daughter. I'm not like my sister, who was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. Even though her mother adopted me, she didn't buy me new clothes. The food we eat is the simplest. The congee for her breakfast is cooked by the nanny from midnight. Zhangqian got more and more excited as she spoke. I really don't know how she can be so scheming. She's trying to make the classmates dislike my cousin. If it weren't for Auntie, she'd be getting beaten up for every meal in the orphanage now. But luckily, I exposed her thoroughly. I said she was a clown putting on an act and that my cousin has urticaria and the breakfast is medicinal food for treating her illness, not for treating her brain. How could she have the nerve to ask for it? After that, she cried for 2 classes, and the classmates didn't dare to bully my cousin with her anymore. Good job. But what I care about is not that. What was Qingqing's reaction? She sighed. At first, my cousin felt sorry for her, and was going to give her all her pocket money and starve herself. I stopped her. I sighed too. It seems that to cure my daughter's blind loyalty to her sister, we need to take drastic measures. Coincidentally, this weekend was her daughter's birthday. I still remember that in the previous life a special thing happened that day. I sent invitations to her daughter's classmates and friends. The restaurant on the weekend was decorated in an all-pink tone. Balloons and colored paper were piled on the wooden plates in the hall, with words saying happy birthday to Zhaoqing. May you always smile. The children came one after another, and the tables were buried under gifts. Her daughter happily thanked her friends and played with them. Qiao Xiaoyue, the last to arrive, was wearing an expensive sequined pink princess dress. She stood in the hall, her face looking extremely pale, as if smeared with something, and her lips were as red as if dripping blood. Sister, I'm sorry I'm late. Mom didn't want to give me money, and I don't have any gifts to give you. I only have my best wishes. Happy birthday. May you always be a princess. The children turned to look at her one after another, and let out envious exclamations. Wow, Xiaoyue, you look so beautiful today. What kind of dress is this? I've never seen it before. You're the real princess, aren't you? In the previous life she said the same thing, wearing the dress her daughter had painstakingly made, stealing her daughter's limelight. But at that time I thought she was innocent, and her daughter said she didn't mind, so I didn't embarrass her in front of so many people, only thinking of correcting her gradually. But now she had made the same mistake again. Seeing her being adored by everyone while her daughter was being ignored at her own birthday party, I walked straight up to Qiao Xiaoyue and looked her dress up and down. This is a dress Qingqing made herself. Please take it off and return it to her. Also, I've never allowed you to use my cosmetics. What you put on your face is talcum powder. Today is Qingqing's birthday. Why did you steal her things and steal her limelight? Even first-grade children know that on someone's birthday, that person should be the center of attention. Zhangqian, who had been angry for a long time, also pointed at her. Even if you wear a princess dress, you'll always be a Cinderella. The children also started to laugh at Qiao Xiaoyue. Someone actually puts talcum powder on their face. People from the orphanage really don't know any better. She always says she's poor. We've given her a lot of money. Why did she still steal Qingqing's dress? She's a born thief, isn't she? How disgusting. Qiao Xiaoyue bit her lip, looking extremely pitiful, and her face turned completely red. She stammered an explanation. I glared at her. You what? Are you going to say you're Kelan again? Just because you're Kelan you can steal? This is a matter of character. If you dare to steal Qingqing's dress today, will you steal your classmates' toys tomorrow and my money the day after tomorrow? She opened her mouth slightly, eager to say something, but the children had already started making faces at her. Several spoiled children even spat at her. How can someone like you be friends with us? You're so embarrassing. You're a thief. Return all the money you tricked us into giving you. There's nothing to pity about you. You deserve to be poor. You're such a fool. Did you put on so much white makeup because your biological parents died? She squatted on the ground and almost fainted from crying. I pulled her up. Go and take off the dress. No one will care if you cry to death. A fierce look flashed in her eyes, and she ran to the dressing room. After a while, she changed into regular clothes and put on a wronged and stubborn smile again. Sister, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have worn your dress. But I've never worn such a dress before. Please don't be angry. Her daughter took the dress and looked at her sympathetically. Just as she was about to speak, I turned the dress inside out and shook it. The white powder-like things inside flew all over the place. Looking at Qiao Xiaoyue's guilty eyes, I coldly asked, "What is this?" She forced an awkward smile. I don't know. I forcefully grabbed her wrist. This is pollen. You know very well that Qingqing has urticaria, a poor immune system and many allergens. You put these things in her dress on purpose to make her allergic. Originally, with the conditioning of the medicinal food, my daughter's immune system had improved a lot. In the previous life, it was after this birthday party that she became weak again. She had to rest at home for at least 10 days a month, even when she grew up. Also, due to years of allergies, her body had become weak. At that time, I couldn't figure out the reason and was puzzled for many years. Now that I think about it, it must have been Qiao Xiaoyue's doing. especially when I saw her often fiddling with the flowers in the Ho Hua Yun. And going in and out of my daughter's room, I understood. Her daughter finally came to her senses. She looked at Qiao Xiaoyue in shock. I've always treated you like my own sister. How could you do this to me? You're so bad. Zhang Qian couldn't help but curse. You heartless wretch. Auntie was so kind to adopt you, but you're like a rat in the sewer, unworthy of seeing the light. Under Zhang Qian's lead, the classmates all stood behind her daughter. Several of them even pushed Qiao Xiaoyue to the ground. Having a classmate like you is a disgrace to us. I'll tell everyone how despicable you are. I'll never play with you again. I'll beat you up every time I see you. Aunt Sue, don't take her as your daughter anymore. Send her back to the orphanage. She deserves to be beaten every day. Qiao Xiaoyue crawled in front of me, hugging my calf and crying. Mom, I was wrong. I'll never dare again. Please keep me. I really don't want to go back and be beaten and starved. I sneered. I'll send you back right away. I sent Qiao Xiaoyue with swollen eyes back to the orphanage. Li Mei asked me in surprise what had happened. I told her everything Qiao Xiaoyue had done recently in detail. Li Mei gave Qiao Xiaoyue a look of disappointment and finally looked at me with an apologetic face. I don't know how she could have suddenly become like this, but she surely didn't do it on purpose. Once you've taken a child, how can you send it back? Qiao Xiaoyue grabbed my hand tightly and refused to let go. Mom, I really won't do it again. Please don't send me back. I'll be beaten to death by the other children. Li Mei glared at her. You said you were being bullied and I felt sorry for you, so I found you this place. Is this how you repay your adoptive mother? Do you know that the donations to the orphanage are getting fewer and fewer? How much money do you think it costs to raise you? You're so ungrateful. Hurry up and apologize to your mom to make her feel better. She knelt down with a thud and kowtowed. I know I was wrong. I swear I'll never do it again. But there was clearly still a cold and vicious look in her eyes. Since the previous incidents hadn't deterred her evil intentions, I didn't mind tormenting her for a while longer, until she was battered and bruised. Only then did I sigh. She looks so pitiful. She's so young. It's inevitable that she goes astray. Qiao Xiaoyue looked at me with full of hope as the blood dripped from my head onto the ground. Mom, give me another chance. Just one more chance. I helplessly waved my hand and looked at Li Mei. I also want to give her another chance. But what if she relapses? Otherwise, I think we'd better not go through the adoption procedures. It'll be troublesome if I have to return her later. Li Mei could only agree and took Qiao Xiaoyue back. Her daughter already ignored her. No matter how she tried to act, her daughter would only coldly tell her to stop pretending. Plus, I started giving her pocket money. Although it wasn't much, it was quite a lot for a child. She finally calmed down for a month. One night, with red marks and bruises all over her face, she knelt in front of me and cried bitterly. Mom, please transfer me to another school. The classmates are bullying me. They beat me every day. Today they even made me kneel on the ground and ride me like a dog. They took all the money you gave me and said I stole it. I haven't had lunch for a week. If you don't transfer me, I'll die. I smiled faintly. Wasn't it you who wanted to study here in the first place? If you hadn't stolen Qingqing's dress, would they treat you like this? Why do they only bully you? You have to think about your own reasons. She was at a loss for words and her face looked extremely ugly. Of course, I wouldn't transfer her to another school. She had to endure the remaining 3 years, even if she had to crawl on the ground. After 3 years, under the torment of those classmates, Qiao Xiaoyue was hardly recognizable. She was skinny and covered with scars. But I wouldn't give her any chance to complain to outsiders. I didn't buy her a mobile phone, and a driver picked her up and dropped her off at school. When she graduated from the 6th grade, her daughter was admitted to a key junior high school through her own efforts. And Qiao Xiaoyue, who had been in deep trouble every day, had no time to study. So, she could only go to a school with the worst educational quality and a very bad school spirit. During the summer vacation, she came to beg me, saying that she also wanted to go to the same junior high school as her daughter. I directly rejected her. Why? Because of your face? It's so big and wide. Your sister got in by herself. You don't have the brains or the ability. You just want to get something for nothing. Take it or leave it. If you don't want to go, get out. She cried all night and finally went to number 23 middle school. The first week she came home, the corner of her mouth was torn. Because it wasn't bandaged in time, the wound almost stank. I asked her and she cried. The new classmates are also bullying me. They said I talked too annoyingly, so they tore my mouth. Mom, you don't know how vicious they are. I knew. Of course I knew. The reason I insisted on sending her to number 23 middle school was that in that school, almost every year, there were students who went to the juvenile detention center because of bullying. As for the victims, the proportion was as high as 50%. There had even been cases where people died. With her mouth that always feigned hardship, what good could she expect? But I didn't care. Alas, the children in that school are so pitiful. Sometimes it's inevitable to go astray. Just be more tolerant if you can. In her somewhat despairing eyes, I went back to the bedroom. In the second semester of the second year of junior high school, I received a call from her head teacher, saying that her arm was broken and asking me to go to the school immediately. When I went to the school unhurriedly, I found that Li Mei was also there. Qiao Xiaoyue had already been bandaged. She was lying on a plank bed with red eyes and a bruised face. The head teacher kept apologizing to Li Mei. I'm sorry. We will definitely strengthen management. Li Mei frowned and looked at me. Miss Su, when I handed the child over to you before, I didn't expect you to raise her like this. I looked confused. When did you hand the child over to me? We haven't even completed the adoption procedures. Li Mei paused and then put on a smile. But I trusted you before and handed the child over to you. Even if you didn't plan to raise her well, you shouldn't have let her get covered in scars. I laughed. Did I cause these injuries? Isn't this just a fight among the kids? It's so normal. Qiao Xiaoyue cried out. It wasn't a fight. More than a dozen of them beat me. Director, my adoptive mother didn't raise me well at all. I scoffed. What does that have to do with me? I'm not your adoptive mother. Besides, do you have evidence that others beat you? Qiao Xiaoyue fell silent. Li Mei's face turned green and white. She suppressed the anger in her eyes and looked at me with a smile. Miss Su, I know this child made mistakes before. But after all, she's so young. I haven't been able to contact her for so many years. Today I just heard from her that she hasn't made mistakes anymore. She's been punished for so many years, which is enough. A glimmer of cunning flashed in her eyes again. She's been obedient for so long. Otherwise, why don't we find some time to complete the adoption procedures? Look at how pitiful she is now. I remember you were very kind before. Do you really have to treat a child like this? If you don't take care of her, with her injuries like this, our orphanage can't afford it either. Since the moment she induced my daughter to jump off the building, she deserved all the misfortunes in the world. But since she was so pitiful, I might as well pity her. Yes, she's young. But aren't other children young too? She doesn't have any evidence. How do I know how she got these injuries? Maybe she has a violent tendency and likes to hit herself. If I really adopt her, what if she causes harm to me and my daughter? Hearing the change in my tone, they quickly assured me. No, definitely not. As long as you're willing to complete the adoption procedures, she will never harm you. Qiao Xiaoyue also swore. I will never harm you and my sister, Mom. As long as you're willing to adopt me and transfer me to another school, I'll do anything. I said with a look of hesitation. But you don't have evidence to prove that you were beaten. The number 1 middle school has strict inspections of students. Your grades are terrible, and you're already in the second year of junior high school. If you transfer in, they may not agree. I've said that your assurances mean nothing to me. They both asked me. Then what do you suggest? I smiled. It's easy. She just needs to go with me to get a certificate of depression and schizophrenia. Recently there's a new policy. Such students should be more likely to be admitted to school. Moreover, if you get sick because of bullying, when you find the bullies later, you can make them pay a heavier price. Getting a mental examination will also make me feel more at ease. Director Li, you know that I've donated a lot of money to your orphanage before. I really want to adopt a child. If she hadn't angered me before, I wouldn't have treated her like this. Now I believe she's truly repented, and I also believe in the quality of the children in your orphanage. I'll still donate to you in the future. The two of them looked at each other, more excited than ever. Okay, I'll take her right away. In order to escape the hellhole, Qiao Xiaoyue worked very hard. In a private hospital, she tearfully told how painful and world-weary she was. Plus, with the years of being bullied, she did have some mental problems. Finally, the doctor issued a certificate, confirming her depression and schizophrenia. I didn't break my promise. I transferred her to number 1 middle school, spending some money so that she could be a classmate with her daughter again. Because I remembered that at the beginning of the first semester of the 3rd year of junior high school, Yang Jia should transfer here. Zhang Qian also had good grades and had been in the same class as her daughter. She was very puzzled by my decision to transfer Qiao Xiaoyue here, but still reported to me every move of Qiao Xiaoyue at school. Many students in number 1 middle school were also promoted from their primary school and knew Qiao Xiaoyue very well. With word spreading quickly, no one thought highly of Qiao Xiaoyue. She was still alone and being bullied. But because number 1 middle school had strict management, no one dared to be too rough. In the first semester of the 3rd year of junior high school, Yang Jia indeed transferred here. Zhang Qian said that he wrote love letters to her cousin every day. Her cousin ignored him, but he was so thick-skinned that he kept writing. I wasn't worried that her daughter would fall in love with Yang Jia. After all, even in the previous life, it was only after Yang Jia chased her until she graduated from university that she agreed to be with him. Before that, she told me that she didn't have any feelings for Yang Jia. She was with him purely out of gratitude because he would treat her well for a lifetime. However, Qiao Xiaoyue was even more shameless. Everyone knew that Yang Jia liked her cousin, but she still kept getting close to him, always crying about how pitiful she was. And Yang Jia was also a fool. He couldn't see through the scheming girl. I curled my lips. It wasn't that he couldn't see through her. He simply enjoyed the feeling of being worshipped and needed by the scheming girl. One was flirtatious and the other was fickle. These two were really a perfect match. I had to make sure they were together and never harm my daughter again. Xiaoqian, you're in junior high school now. Your own study is very important. Don't worry about other things. She agreed and left. I found my daughter and asked her about Yang Jia. We had always been able to talk about anything. Although she was surprised, she was also very honest. Mom, I don't plan to date now. He's really disturbing my study. And he asked the teacher to move his seat next to mine. I'm a bit annoyed, I said. Then I'll call your teacher and ask him to move Yang Jia away. After he agreed, I immediately called the teacher. I have another adopted daughter in your class. If it's convenient, could you please transfer Yang Jia to sit next to Qiao Xiaoyue? Her grades are not good, and Yang Jia, being so eager to help others, would surely be willing to assist Qiao Xiaoyue. Without a second thought, the teacher agreed to this minor matter. Zhang Qian informed me that, under the teacher's supervision, Yang Jia dared not bother my daughter anymore. Qiao Xiaoyue, noticing Yang Jia's wealthy background, was quick to cozy up to him. Yang Jia, who never turned down an advance, soon became inseparable from Qiao Xiaoyue. During this period, under the pretext that Qiao Xiaoyue had been obedient and I felt guilty, I gave her a considerable amount of pocket money. Watching her meticulously groom herself and purchase various designer clothes and shoes, I was secretly elated. As I had anticipated, her appetite for money grew. I shrugged and told her, "I'm sorry, but my company is facing a minor crisis recently, and funds are tight. You'll have to be frugal. I haven't given Ching Ching any pocket money for 2 months, just the basic living expenses." Ching Ching is so understanding that she hasn't asked me for money once in these 2 months. Qiao Xiaoyue had no grounds to ask me for more money, especially considering her previous experience. Subsequently, the elation she had briefly felt plummeted to the depths again. Even without Zhang Qian telling me, I could guess why. After experiencing a taste of a luxurious lifestyle, how could she willingly return to being a penniless, ragged urchin? She would surely turn to Yang Jia for money. Yang Jia was no fool. He was quite shrewd. Otherwise, among so many people, he wouldn't have singled out my daughter and pursued her relentlessly for a decade. If he were truly affectionate, why would he have gotten involved with Qiao Xiaoyue after finally winning my daughter's heart? It was obvious that he was attracted to my daughter's refined demeanor and recognized her as someone extraordinary. Whatever his motives, he was clearly no good. To get money from him, one would undoubtedly have to pay a price. Sure enough, one day Qiao Xiaoyue called me, saying that a friend had invited her and she wouldn't be coming home that night. I smiled to myself. She had no real friends. The only person interested in her was a hormone-crazed boyfriend who was trying to use money to take advantage of her. After that, she had money to buy luxury goods again, and a smile returned to her face. Naturally, her absences from home became more and more frequent, until Zhang Qian told me that she had seen Yang Jia and Qiao Xiaoyue hiding behind the school's small woods. Qiao Xiaoyue was crying, saying that she was pregnant. I asked what Yang Jia had said. Zhang Qian sneered. He's no good either. He said he had no money and couldn't afford to pay for an abortion for her. He wasn't lying. Ever since Yang Jia transferred to No. 1 middle school, I had been constantly applying pressure on the Yang group, which had just moved to City A. As the saying goes, a strong dragon can't overpower a local snake. No matter how powerful they were, in my territory they had to be submissive. After continuous and intense pressure over a long period, the chairman of the Yang group was already considering retreating to their original base. Yang Jia's parents were deeply troubled, having lost a substantial amount of money and almost being pushed back to square one. By now, where would they have the money to let their son squander? So Qiao Xiaoyue couldn't afford an abortion. But as her adoptive mother, how could I stand by and watch my adopted daughter be deceived like this? In the school office, when the young couple rushed over and saw me, surprise flashed in their eyes. After all, having been in the business world for years, they quickly composed themselves and put on smiles. Oh, I didn't know that the daughter of President Su was a classmate of my son. It's like the flood hitting the Dragon King's temple. President Su, we're new here. I don't know where we've offended you. For the sake of our children, could you please tell us what this is all about? I sneered and raised an eyebrow, looking at Yang Jia. For the sake of our children? If it weren't for your son seducing my adopted daughter, would she be pregnant at such a young age? If your son and my adopted daughter weren't classmates, perhaps I wouldn't have targeted your Yang group. Yang Jia's father was instantly enraged and punched Yang Jia in the face. You ungrateful wretch. How old are you? How could you do such a shameless thing? Yang Jia was completely stunned, and Qiao Xiaoyue turned deathly pale. They wanted to defend themselves, but they knew that the truth would be easily revealed upon investigation. In the end, Yang Jia didn't offer an explanation. He just howled in pain under his father's punches. I'll never do it again. She seduced me. She said she would let me copy her answers if I bought her a bag. Qiao Xiaoyue blushed. You're lying. I slapped her across the face. How can you be so shameless at such a young age? What kind of low-class genes did your biological parents pass on to you? I've raised you for so many years and this is how you turn out? So promiscuous and eager to seduce men. Why are you still in school? Drop out right now. If you like selling yourself so much, go ahead and do it. I'm ashamed to be associated with you. She covered her face and dared not say a word. The teacher couldn't stand it any longer. All right, we're here to solve the problem. Beating the children won't solve anything. Everyone calm down. I pretended to calm down for a moment, then suddenly stood up. Whether my daughter seduced him or not, your son's mistake is undeniable. I won't stop applying pressure on you until you withdraw from City A. President Yang, who had just calmed down, couldn't hold back this time. Despite his refined appearance, he whipped out his belt and almost beat Yang Jia unconscious. In the end, Yang Jia lay in a corner of the office like a dead dog, twitching all over, while Qiao Xiaoyue covered her face, her legs shaking. Yang Jia's father took him to the hospital and arranged for him to transfer back to his hometown. The school had no right to expel Qiao Xiaoyue. Even though the entire school was scolding her, calling her a shameless whore, the school could only swallow its anger. Fortunately, the high school entrance examination was only a month away. The teacher asked her to move her desk outside the corridor so as not to disrupt the other students' studies. She became the target of everyone's scorn, a vent for the intense study pressure. Especially her gradually swelling belly had become the object of everyone's ridicule and humiliation. Unable to bear the heavy pressure, she knelt in front of me and begged, Mom, I was wrong. I've shamed you. Can you take me to have the baby aborted? If the pregnancy progresses any further, I'll die. This time I feigned kindness. Of course. After all, you're my adopted daughter. I took her to that private hospital and specifically instructed the doctor, remember to perform the operation carefully. I heard that anesthesia is bad for the body. The doctor nodded solemnly. They forcefully extracted the 5-month-old fetus. Her pig-like screams lasted for an hour. Finally, the doctor wiped his hands and smiled faintly. President Sue, don't worry. She passed out from the pain several times. I was kind enough to pour cold water on her to wake her up. I was very careful. She won't die. Just a little mishap. She won't be able to have children in the future. I feigned regret and sighed. I stayed by her bedside. 2 days later, Qiao Xiaoyue woke up. When she saw me, she burst into tears. Mom, what kind of doctor did you find for me? I almost died from the pain. My whole body still hurts. I tilted my head and looked at her. When you were enjoying seducing men, did you feel any pain? When you stole everything from my daughter, turned her friends against her, and seduced her fiancé, did you ever think about how much pain she would feel? She was stunned. Mom, what are you talking about? I raised a cold smile, and a murderous intent, like that of the Grim Reaper, spread. I did it on purpose. All the pain you've endured is my doing. You're not fit to be my adopted daughter. You're so vicious that you're not even worthy of being my daughter's maid. She's a princess, and you'll always be a lowly servant. Qiao Xiaoyue, you'll spend the rest of your life repenting in a mental hospital. She cursed at me like a madwoman. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you tormenting me? Why did you adopt me in the first place? If it weren't for you, someone else would have adopted me, and I would have become a noble princess. You've ruined my life. I shook my head and turned off the phone's camera. Qiao Xiaoyue was sent to a mental hospital. She already had a history of mental problems, and she had been promiscuous and even cursed her adoptive mother. She deserved to be treated there. Li Mei didn't stop me. After all, in her eyes, as long as the child wasn't in her way, stealing the social donations, it didn't matter where she was. On the day she was sent in, 2 grown men, one grabbed her by the neck and the other held her legs, dragging her out like a slaughtered pig. She kept biting, struggling, and cursing. The chief doctor of the mental hospital looked grave. Your adopted daughter's condition is very serious. She may need to recover for several years. I smiled. It doesn't matter. As long as her illness can be cured. But she still has to take the college entrance examination. That's a life-changing event. It would be best to have her fully recovered within 2 years. I have no objection to electroshock therapy or sedative injections. By the way, I'm usually very busy at work. I'm afraid my adopted daughter will be lonely and unattended here, so I've hired 2 aunts. Could you please let them take care of her? The doctor looked at the 2 burly aunts and nodded gratefully. There are so few adoptive mothers who are this kind to their adopted daughters. I nodded. I could be even kinder to her. 2 years later, one of the aunts called me, her voice trembling. Madam, that girl has gone completely crazy. She not only ate my underwear but also 502 glue. She even thinks she's a female dog. In the end, she jumped off a building. I paused. Is she dead? It's okay. It's not your fault. She was a mental patient after all. It's quite normal for her to jump off a building. She just couldn't handle good fortune with her weak constitution. The year my daughter took the college entrance examination, her score was 80 points higher than the previous time. The night before I sent her to school, she came to sleep next to me with her pillow. Mom, I don't want to leave you. It's the first time I'm going to such a faraway place. I'm not used to it. I hugged her tightly. Your cousin will go with you. By the way, do you remember what Mom told you before? She looked at me with bright eyes and playfully stuck out her tongue. You've told me so many things. I sighed. Mom told you not to be overly compassionate and help someone who isn't worthy. The story of the farmer and the snake is such a simple truth. She smiled. I know, Mom. Ever since I found out that Qiao Xiaoyue was up to something in my clothes, I haven't been so quick to help others. Indeed, I had said that. She had never been foolish in this regard again. I had taken my revenge for her and also taught her a lesson. Some people may seem truly pitiful, but if their plight isn't of their own making, there's no need to sacrifice one's own interests to help them. Even when being kind-hearted, one must be discerning and not get entangled with someone who will only cause trouble and repay kindness with ingratitude. The end.